October 7th, 2023. Hamas launches a large-scale assault on Israel, leading to mass casualties and hostage-taking. Israel declares war, begins heavy airstrikes on Gaza, and later conducts ground operations. Late 2024, early 2025 diplomacy. Mediators from the United States, Egypt, and Qatar promote a multi-phase plan involving a ceasefire, hostage prisoner exchanges, Israeli withdrawal, and a multi-year reconstruction framework. A variation is agreed on January 15, 2025, implemented January 19 to March 18, 2025, with multiple exchange rounds and initial Israeli withdrawals and aid flows. The arrangement proves fragile, and talks toward a permanent cessation stall. February-March 2025, as the 42-day truce nears expiry, signals from Israeli leadership point toward readiness to resume intense combat. Negotiations for a second phase lag, and the ceasefire lapses with renewed hostilities in mid-March. Israeli stated goals. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has framed end-state objectives as dismantling Hamas's rule, stripping Gaza's capacity to produce or import arms, and maintaining overarching Israeli security control while establishing a transitional governance authority. He has rejected accusations of deliberate starvation tactics and emphasized the aim of eliminating Hamas's military and governing capabilities. Hamas's stated stance: Hamas leaders have repeatedly signaled refusal to lay down arms absent the establishment of an independent Palestinian state, framing armed struggle as leverage in negotiations over sovereignty and governance arrangements in Gaza and beyond. Operational posture. Israeli forces have conducted sustained air and ground operations targeting Hamas leadership, tunnel networks, and military infrastructure. Humanitarian impact and civilian protection. Casualties and destruction. By late July 2025, about 60,000 Palestinians in Gaza were reported killed, and more than two-thirds of buildings in the Strip were damaged or destroyed, reflecting the scale of bombardment and urban combat. Israeli deaths, including the October 7 victims, reached roughly 1,700. Aid flows and essential services have been severely constrained, and displacement has been widespread. Food insecurity and access. Humanitarian agencies reported nearly 500,000 people facing catastrophic food insecurity, and around 1 million at emergency levels by late July 2025. Underscoring the urgency of sustained access and deconfliction for relief operations. Ongoing hostilities in populated areas. Reports through mid-2025 describe continued bombardment and demolitions in Gaza City neighborhoods, with local health authorities citing civilian deaths. Ceasefires, negotiations, and mediation. Three-phase proposal and 2025 truce. The U.S., Egypt, and Qatar advanced a plan entailing an initial multi-week ceasefire with staggered hostage prisoner exchanges, expanded humanitarian access, Israeli withdrawals, and talks toward a permanent end of hostilities. A variant of this plan took effect January 19 to March 18, 2025, enabling several exchange rounds and partial returns of displaced civilians. However, follow-on negotiations faltered, and fighting resumed. Political constraints. Domestic pressures, leadership changes in negotiating teams, and divergent red lines over post-war governance complicated the transition from a time-bound truce to a durable settlement. Signals from Israeli leadership in February 2025 indicated readiness to re-escalate if talks stalled, while mediators struggled to bridge gaps on sequencing and guarantees, legal and human rights concerns. Protection of civilians and detainees. Persistent allegations from multiple quarters, covering indiscriminate attacks, use of human shields, and treatment of detainees, underscore the need for independent investigations and adherence to international humanitarian law by all parties. Spillover risks and alliances. The conflict has intersected with broader regional tensions, including exchanges involving Iran-linked actors and Hezbollah, and has been framed by Israeli leadership as part of a wider confrontation with Tehran's network. Claims presented alongside assertions of battlefield gains against these adversaries. Such dynamics elevate the risk of escalation beyond Gaza, even as international actors push for restraint. 1. Prospects. Durable de-escalation hinges on reconciling core demands: release of remaining hostages, guarantees against renewed attacks, governance, and security.